Creative process. Hey, Danny, what are your top priorities throughout your creative process for music? What kind of music legacy are you trying to leave? What would you like to be remembered for? Also, congrats on sobriety. Wishing you well. I don't know. I think my top priorities in my creative process is just I mean, before I would just always try to like catch lightning in a bottle. It was just being inspired by something and just try to get the idea out as quick as possible. As I've, been making music for so long now, I've just been growing into it. Now it's all more about the post. Like I put down an idea, but then I always keep going back and tinkering it. And I think for the most part, the legacy I want to leave behind is just not to be put in a box so much. Like, I see a lot of times where artists scared to be themselves in some sense and just try to make music that they think the people would like. And I think that's like the first mistake because, I like I say, man, listen to you guys and Def Jux, and I was a huge fan of like Dizzy Rascal and stuff. And I always remember that my favorite rappers and some of my favorite music wasn't on the radio or wasn't on top 40 shit. So just trying to just, make people just know that music is subjective in some sense. So make what you like. And if it's other people that like that shit, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when you're trying too hard to make something that everybody gonna like, or, I guess it is a talent to do that. I guess that's what pop music is in some sense. But I don't think I got that in me. You know what I'm saying? So what's up? What you guys' creative process is like? And what's the legacy y'all trying to leave?
For me, I do it every single day, at least when I'm home. When I'm on the road, it shuts down. And it's like a break from music in some ways. Well, when I'm home, every day I turn my equipment on, regardless. Definitely after 10 o'clock, my family goes to bed and all that shit. I turn on my music and I just start messing around. Maybe I'll just listen to something and then it just starts coming. Now, doesn't mean I'm going to make anything good that day. You know what I mean? So I think I bat like maybe 50-50. You know what I mean? So every other day I got something kind of worth doing. And just like you, in every way, I just mess around with it a little bit, and then I go back to it and tinker until there's something real to show him or whoever I may be working with. And the legacy part, I just want as much as I can possibly fit in before I go. I want as much music as I could possibly make before I leave this earth,
That's dope.
My process is a little different than his. I stare at something until I stare at the rock until I make it move. And so when he gives me a beat, and I turn my shit on every day too, but sometimes it'll just end up answering emails. Yeah. Sometimes it'll just be to listen to other people's shit, but when he gives me a beat, I tend to stare at it until I know what is this story and what is the personality of this music. And then I dive into it and then I stick with it until I got at least a skeleton, at least, 75% of it is there. And then I'll come back and edit and tinker with it and mess with it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I'm kind of like, I face it and I force it to submit to me or I force myself to submit to it, but I don't get up until I have something there.
Yeah, no, that's how I am. It's almost like, just like an inspiration, like one thing could trigger me and then it just flows.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I'm really having a hard time writing, it'd be like, just leave it alone, come back, But for the most part, I find myself studying more so than I'm actually working.
Yeah.
Like I would just fucking like, if sometimes where like you can find inspiration in some sense, like I'll fucking just Google what was the top albums of 1960.
Yeah.
And I'll look through the list and be like, I never heard this one. I never heard this. You know what I'm saying? And then just find shit to listen to. And then, shouts out to algorithms. You know what I'm saying? Once you click a couple of videos, then next thing you know, you get the recommended or something like, hey, what the fuck is this? Cabaret Voltaire. What's that? I don't know what that is, Then before you know it, then you just find all this fucking crazy music. Now, I've been fucking finding crazy. I listened to one fucking song from India that was in like the 1980s, electronic Indian music or some shit. Now my shit is just all fucked, man. So it's like, it's some dope shit, though. I'm like, shit, I'm about to be on the road. I'm going to flip this shit right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I found it, especially like with making beats and shit. I feel like, you can fucking listen to records and shit all fucking day before you find that one thing, that one bar that could just trigger some shit, and then you just build on top of that and just consistently build it. And I had to, like I said, I used to always try to just catch lightning in a bottle type shit, like try to get a song done in one take type shit.
Yeah.
I was one of those kind of guys. But then I had the opportunity to work with Q-Tip and just being around his ass and watch how he work, and he'll literally just he'll make you fucking rap for 3 hours straight, like the same shit, like until you get it down. Until you
He's
get it
one
down.
of my favorites. That's
My fucking, it was a fucking honor to work with his ass because that was my dad. I grew up listening to Tribe. You know, my dad like taking me to school and shit. He always be listening to Tribe and shit. So it was an honor to work with his ass, but just him instilling that in me, because he just told me like, man, you only got one time to put it out, but you got all the time in the world before you can work on it to put it out. So you might as well take all the fucking time you can to put the love into it. So now I've learned that from him. I've just been fucking, but it's kind of like his ass. It makes you work on some shit forever before you can put it out. Because sometimes I feel like you can overwork something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It turns into something unsoulful. Yeah, I think.
But also, you know, I use a painting metaphor. I always end up going there, and it's like, you know, it's like, here's the thing. I just want to get that horse just right. And the thing is, when you stand 6 feet away from the painting, like most listeners do, instead of standing right up next to it, you know what I'm saying? That it's a horse no matter what. You ain't got to get that horse. It's a horse. They're going to see a horse. It's all about what you're implying and the implications, you know, which I wanted to touch that legacy thing. Like what you say about that legacy is exactly so beautiful to me. This is the only way to live forever, is to create things that last, that outlast you, and that stick around, whether you get to be super famous or you just get 500 people that love what you did. That's how you live forever. And to me, that is what the legacy is for me, is to look at it and go, how not only am I trying to live forever through the art that I leave behind, but also to inspire other people to make art. I don't care if you're rapping or sculpting or painting or whatever, just make some stuff to leave behind, so that in a million years, when they come and dig up this rock and look at what was here, this is what we could show them. You know what I'm saying? This is what we left. This is the culture. We were not just like the other species on this planet. We did all this dumbass shit. Yeah. To, you know, and look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like.